Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your card reading for the period between the full moon in Leo on February 10th, 11th, which was a partial lunar eclipse, going through the Pisces new moon on February 26th, which is a solar eclipse. So we're leaving the family of eclipses, which were along the Virgo Pisces axis, and we're heading into new families of eclipses, which are on Leo and Aquarius. And speaking of families, I discovered that between this time period, because I was sort of looking around at other related information, I found that there was a festival, a Roman festival called Parentalia, which takes place in this time period, starting from February 13th and running 9 days through February 22nd, so just within the boundaries of these eclipses. And it is a celebration of the ancestors. And I think of ancestors not just as genetic ancestors, but also as being parts of one's soul family. Or you might think of the fairy godmothers. So other spirits or angels who are part of your spiritual team or think tank or prayer circle, as well as the many, many humans that you are or that I am connected to through family heritage, but also if there's reincarnation through lots of different lifetimes connected to lots of different families. So that means that the huge pool of ancestors from which you can draw inspiration and wisdom always outnumbers by many the people around the Thanksgiving table. And the ancestors really just wait for you to want to work with them. So one of the things that you can do is to honor the ancestors just by thanking them for existing. And then make yourself open to listening, because within your ancestral lines of all different types, you have so much wisdom, so many skills, so many experiences, so many lifetimes. Now, some of the people that you're related to have gone through very difficult things, and you may find that you feel that these are affecting you. The idea of karma, that you're dragged down by things that you didn't cause and that were sort of inflicted upon you. But also, I think the means of that liberation is within you, because if you connect with your ancestors and make peace with some of those situations, any healing that you have in this life spreads backwards, or at least that's what people who deal with the Akashic records tend to say, that any healing you do of old wounds now, even if they're wounds you don't know about, is healing to your whole line. And of course, I'm saying not just your genetic line, but all of your families. So during Parentalia, during this 9 days, it's a time to thank the ancestors, but also a time to reach out to them with love and compassion, because a lot of them have gone through a lot of things. So I thought I would pull cards that had to do with the idea of celebrating the past and learning from the past, because many of us are looking in this Aquarian age to move forward in innovative new ways. But I always think of the phrase that everything old is new again, and something that is ancient wisdom could seem radical and revolutionary today. So if you can pull from the ancient wisdom that you have connected to you, it could be exactly the innovative, out-of-the-box approach that you need for today's problems. So I'm using the Retro Lenormand by Alexander Musrick, the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt, and the Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Mosley. So let's get to the cards. So here we go. We have the Bear. So the bear is, it can be a boss figure or an authority figure, but I also think of it as one's very strong sense of self, like the first house in astrology. It has to do with strength, with resources, with persistence. The bear is not a speedy card. The bear is a get it done despite any obstacles kind of card. The bear has a lot of resources, wisdom, and the bear can outlast a lot of opposition. So I'm going to flip the tarot card and see what card is in the house of the bear as I sort of do my little mixed readings. Okay, the Page of Pentacles. So here you can see, here's this beautiful living plant inside, and outside it looks like there's sort of a frost ghost, if you will. So I'm going to look this up because actually this is a card where I don't know the ghost story. A lot of them I know the ghost story attached because I've learned it over time with the deck, but this one is not coming to mind. So let me look it up here. The Page of Pentacles, Jack Frost. Oh, that makes sense. With his magical touch, Jack Frost can transform bleak gray landscapes into sparkling crystal-covered scenery. He leaves his trademark on windows, etching his intricate designs in the glass. This solitary creature remains unseen, but nips at the ears and noses of children to warn them of the dangers of the cold. The uniqueness of snowflakes suggests there is no limit to one's creativity. The green houseplant ensures the potential for growth is on the horizon. The transparent glass reveals the world outside. If you take the time to look closely, you'll see things with more clarity and insight. This echoes some other readings that I've been doing recently that are talking about the importance of not hurrying. During Parentalia, the Roman festival, people didn't get married. The officials didn't wear the insignias of their office. People took quiet time within their homes and families for observances. And so this might be a time where you want to look closely at things and not be rushed, and that fits in very well with the bear, with that energy, to see where your resources might uniquely be used. People talk a lot now about special snowflakes, people who think they're special. And I get that in terms of a complaint that people aren't reaching beyond their own individual senses to try to connect with other people. I get that. But there is a sense in which it's absolutely true, and you are a unique snowflake. There has never been anyone who is you in the history of ever. And you have a unique job to do just by being, just by existing. You are a never before manifestation of the creative, divine love. And so I think the bear, the Page of Pentacles in the house of the bear, asks you to examine what your unique gifts are, what your resources are, and not necessarily to have to take action on it right away. We just have this little green plant here. But to identify those areas of your unique gifts and unique resources, because those are going to be the foundation of your longevity. Bear is a card, though it deals with hibernation, and Parentalia is a little bit of a hibernating time period before this next solar eclipse. There is also the sense of doing things for the long haul. So this is considering your unique gifts, being very clear-eyed and very cognizant, looking through this transparent window, being very cognizant of both the dangers and the possible benefits, and not letting the dangers scare you out of pursuing benefits, but being clear-eyed enough that just because things have a little bit of a downside, they shouldn't scare you off. The bear is strong enough to persist in the face of a lot of different kinds of opposition. The bear is a very persisting kind of energy. But the thought that you want to be clear-eyed and you don't want to create problems for yourself or someone else. So I think that's kind of what I'm reading from these two cards. So let's go on to the Vintage Wisdom Oracle and see what that has to say. Surrender. Okay. So surrender with these butterflies certainly does bring up the idea of transformational energy. And where I see this sort of tied in with this little green plant, I think as I see this plant here and I see this sort of all these snowflakes and the Jack Frost character, I think there's a becoming, there's a bridging of this gap. If you see what I mean, like even this bear is sort of a white polar bear, so you can think, well, on this side we've got these kinds of energies, this cold and being prepared for the worst. And on this side, we've got this new green growth and these beautiful butterflies and this relaxed attitude, right? And so it's kind of interesting that I can see a divide between the two. So it may be that as we're moving out of the past, we're looking toward the future, and we're going to need to surrender in some way to a new becoming. But I don't think it's going to be, if this makes any sense, swallowing the past whole or being all in the new. This is a balance, right? This is really this kind of interesting balance between these energies, the energies of conservation, preservation, strong protection. And this woman who is wearing very little clothing, so she's very exposed. Her eyes are closed, so she can't see if someone's coming to attack her. Her hand is open, and there are butterflies fluttering around her face. I mean, that's very much a different feeling. So we have this protective energy from the bear, and on the other side, we have this surrendered energy, which is very open-hearted. And I feel like as we address the new, and even as we look toward the past to try to pull ancient wisdom or try to make peace with our ancestors, we are looking for that balance. You don't want to give up everything you have learned already, give up the person you are now in every way. You're not trying to forget everything you've already learned, but you do need to be open enough to walk forward into something that's going to seem rather different than what you did before. And this might be kind of funny because I worked from this direction to this direction. And now I'm dealing with this almost like past, present, future. And normally we go left to right when we're doing that. But I think there's sort of an inversion going on right now. And really, if you look at the astrology, things are so interesting. There are these really unusual tensions in the skies. And I hope that you're feeling them as I'm feeling them in this really enlivening way. I feel like it's bringing new qualities to the fore. I feel like it's bringing energy and sharpness and alertness to the fore. And it is going to change me. And I feel like in a funny way that everything old is new again. And so I hope that you found this useful. I will be back in advance of the Pisces solar eclipse. I'll be back on track. But hopefully this gives you a little something to think about in the meanwhile. And I hope that you're having fun. I hope that you're looking at this with enthusiasm and excitement. And if not, many blessings in whatever challenge you're facing. And think about looking to your ancestral team for support and sympathy and blessings too. Okay, rock on with your bad selves.